record this on the computer, and we will start the class today. We're going to start talking about chapter 8.2 and 8.3, which is where you perform hypothesis testing. 8.2 is talking about hypothesis testing for the proportion, and 8.3 is for the hypothesis testing for the mean. So again, proportion is for categorical variables, and you will see the word proportion, or you see the word percentage, or the symbol percent. For the next section 8.3, where we talk about mean, so you will hear the word mean, or the or it goes to quantitative variables. So let's take a look at some homework questions on 8.2 here. I think question 6 is one of why this is paused. That's weird. Yep, now it's recording. So the 7 steps procedure is to check the requirements, which is going through the 3 for this section 8.2 is going to go through these 3 requirements here, which is simple random sample, binomial distribution, and at least 5 success and 5 failures. The second second step is to do the hypothesis statements, where you write your null and your alternative hypothesis. Your null hypothesis is always equal to, and your alternative is either less than, greater than, or not equal to. The third step is to identifying the sampling distribution. So for this section 8.2 with the proportion, we will be using Z distribution, or Z-stats. In the next section 8.3, we will be using T distribution, which is the student T distribution that you learned in 7.2. This sampling distribution is fixed, either Z or T, in this chapter 7, 8, and 9. So these last 3 these 3 chapters that we are going over is going to be either Z or T. Depends on it is proportion or it is mean. So proportion is Z, mean is T. The p-value and the test statistics is always provided us in the StatCrunch. On the if you did the StatCrunch, they give you a table. It's on the to right side of the values. So you will see the p-value and the test the value for those p-value and the test statistics over there. And then alpha is what we call as a significant level, which is given in the question. You do not need to find it. Usually it's like 0.01 or 0.05 or 0.1 level of significance. That is what we call as alpha, significance level. This significant levels is important because that will determine either we are rejecting the null hypothesis or we fail to reject the null hypothesis. If your p-value is less than or equals to alpha, you will reject your null hypothesis. Otherwise, if a p-value is greater than alpha, you will fail to reject your null hypothesis. The conclusion is based on 2 important informations. 1, either you reject or you fail to reject. 2 is your original claim includes equality or not. So the original claim is always found in a question. So the question says test the claim, So that is the original claim, and usually it has either they use the word less than, you should use the word greater than, or they use the word equal to. So that is the claim statement here. So if your original claim does not include equality, means that your claim only consists of less than or greater than, then you will be taking part of this this conclusion here. So either you have less than or greater than, you'll be taking this one. And if you have a rejection on the null hypothesis, that will be your first conclusion. So this is your conclusion you have to write. There is sufficient evidence to support the claim that, now this ... is your original claim that is found in the question. Usually it's like the claim statement says more than 50% of females are right-handed, let's say. So so that is sufficient evidence to support the claim that more than 50% of the, so you just copy and paste from the original claim in order for you to do the conclusion. However, if you fail to reject your null hypothesis here, I do not know. So all this little stuff came up here. Yeah. So if you fail to reject your null hypothesis, but your claim does not include equality, then you will have to make this conclusion, which is very similar to the first one, but you use the word not. So there's a not came up here. So make sure you guys, this is very important that I'm going over here. If your claim includes equality and you reject your null hypothesis, then you will be using this conclusion, which is very similar to here, but instead of using the word support, you reject it. And then the last one is if your claim includes equality and you fail to reject the null hypothesis, then you will have these two words came out, the word not sufficient evidence and the word warrant rejection will be there. So, so this is the conclusion that I'm talking about here is this for conclusion, and it's based on your original claim that has equality or not, has equal sign or not. So if your claim has equal sign, these two are the one that you need to look for. And then you also need to look at, are you rejecting or are you fail to reject? And then the last one is answer the question based on your conclusion. So if you answer this conclusion, which is a positive statement, means you support your claim here, then usually your answer will be yes. For this, if you answer this, if your conclusion is making the second one, then your answer will be no because you are not supporting your claim. If you answer the third one, your answer will be also no because the word rejection, the word warrant rejection is a negation word. So that is why if you answer the third choice, usually is you're not supporting your claim here. And if you answer the fourth one, this is double negation. So you got the word not and the word rejection. So kind of in math, you got two negative become positive. So this will be yes in this case. So usually for the last question, it's very easy. It's just figure out what your conclusion is. And then after that, figure out if it's yes or no. If you're answering the first one, yes. You answer the second and third one is no. The last one is yes. So these are the 7 steps of answering, of doing your hypothesis test testing here, which will be used also in chapter 9. So anyone have any questions on the hypothesis testing here? And you will see this again in the next section, 8.3. We will look at question 6 here on 8.2. So it says that suppose that a random selection of 100 colored candies, 24% of them are blue. This is the claim says. It claims that the percentage of blue candies is equals to 29%. Now, the one that I'm highlighting that is the claim statement. That statement is very important. You need this claim statement when you guys do your hypothesis here. So your hypothesis testing here is you find out that the all here is 0.29. This 0.29 came from your claim statement, okay, which is the 29% here, not the 24%, because this 24% it only comes from a selection. This is just a sample, okay? But this is a claim statement. So usually when you guys write your hypothesis testing, hypothesis statement, you are using this. Now, when you do equal, so equal is the one that we have. The one that is against it is always not equal to. So as you guys remember that your null hypothesis is always equal. Since this statement says we are testing for equal to 29%, so we are using not equal to for your alternative hypothesis. So for this question, your answer in this case will be B, because this is how you will write for this statement here. The P is used here is because for proportion. So that is the answer for question. Next question you have to find here is to do your hypothesis testing here. So you are required to find the test statistic. So in order for you to do your test statistics, you do need to have StatCrunch. Where you go here is you go under stats, you go under proportion stat, you go under one sample and with summary. So this is the stuff that this is the link or the way that you get this is because we're doing proportion stat, one sample with summary. This is exactly the same thing as confidence interval. Remember last time you picked this one in 7.1. So now we are doing the hypothesis testing, which is the first option here. So the number of success, now this number of success is how many, this two, the number of success and number of observation comes from the sample. So we got 100 candies here. So 24% of them are blue. So how many of these 100 candies will be blue? If I say 24% of them are blue.
Wouldn't it be 24?
Mm-hmm. That'll be 24% of 100. So that means that we got 24 of them are blue. So then you need to set your hypothesis testing. This setting has to be exactly the same from your claim statement. So the 29% has to be over here. So as you meant, if you type 29, again, the denominator, these two always have to be same. This is what we call as your claim value. And we are testing for equal and not equal to because of the equality that you have here. So you hit compute. So the last two numbers here is your test. This is your test statistic. And this is your p-value. So your test statistic in this case will be this number. In 2 decimal place. And your p-value will be the last number, which is at 0.271. So this is how you do your test statistics and p-value. Same thing happens in your test. This is how you do your for this. And then next is you have to look at your test, your p-value and your significant level. So it is already given to you, the alpha. So our p-value in this case is 0.271. And your alpha in this case is 0.05. So this is a p-value that is found in your StatCrunch, and alpha is usually in the question, which is right here. So now you have to figure out, is this number is less than or greater than 0.05? This is how we're going to do our
greater than.
Yep, this is greater than. So so since your p-value is greater than alpha, we will fail to reject H0. So we are using this decision. So so since your p-value is greater than alpha, we will fail to reject your H0. So your answer here will be fail to reject. So it's either B or D. Now the conclusion comes out. So here is the conclusion. So how do you, these are the four, you pick one. So how do you pick it? Is first thing is, if you read these questions that you have, do the claim statement includes equality or does not includes equality? This is a claim statement that you have. So this claim statement does have the word equal sign on it. So that means it does include equality. So that means your answer is either the last two. And based on your decision, you are what? You fail to reject, right? So we actually have to take the last decision here because your claim does have equality, which have equal sign, and you fail to reject H0. So this is your conclusion that you have, and your conclusion says there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection. So that is how you're going to do your so there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection. So your answer in this case will be B. So this comes from comparing your p-value and your alpha. And this, the last statement comes from the conclusion that you see over here. So this is the answer for question 6. Oops. Questions? Someone mentioned 15, something like that.
Yeah, I did. I was trying to work it out last night and I just couldn't. I got one of like some of the numbers mixed around or something. I just couldn't get it right.
Yep. Again, just make sure you watch this again and see what's going on here. So 15 is the next one. So I want you guys to read this question and point out where is the claim statement is. They usually have a claim statement. In the test, I have to give you a claim statement.
80% of those patients stop smoking.
Okay, very good. So this is your, say 80% of the patients stop smoking, sustained care. So this program is for people who want to plan to stop smoking. So 244 were given this care and 82% actually stopped smoking. So now since this question doesn't give us the word equal, less than, or greater. Yes, usually in my test, the claim usually has the word equal to, less than, or greater than. So since this question doesn't, so means they are testing for equal to. I just want to point out to you that. So this is a weird claim statements in this case. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. Usually I have to. So this will be the same procedure as the question 6 that we did, where you have to go for equal against non-equal. So it's 80%. So this is this is a question that we have, and usually they have the word equal here. I don't know why they don't put the word equal in this case. This is the weird question that you ask. That I should not put this question out actually. So in the test, I will tell you I will use the word equal, less than, or greater than 80%. I will use one of these. Okay. Then back to the hypothesis testing. So we will be doing StatCrunch here. So again, it's going to go to stats, proportion stats, one sample with summary, same. Now, this time, the number of observations, now we got 244. We have that. But the number of success is the one that you need to figure out using your calculator. So how many people are given a sustained care and they stop smoking? So 82% of them, right? So how do you figure out this number?
244 times 0.82.
Yep. So this is kind of like what you guys did the first day of class when you asked for how many people are having tattoo or whatever it is. So you have to take the 244 times 0.82. So these are the people who actually quit smoking. Now, as you know that you cannot have a decimal people, you cannot have a 0.08 people. So you have to round. So what is the answer? How many success of this case will be?
200.
It would be 200. Yep. So please, you cannot use decimals here because you cannot have decimal represent for people. Oh, sorry, too quick. I forgot to change this. The 0.8 is the one that we use, so we're gonna use the 80%. And where is the 80% come from? It comes from your claim statement here. And we are also testing for equal and not equal to. And this is what you will get. Again, the last two numbers is what you're reporting. So your test statistic will be 0.7677 in 2 decimal place. And your p-value in this case will be in 0.442. So you can tell they are all asking the same thing, or you're doing the same testing here. So back again to your this chart that I'm drawing here, and then after that you have to look at the chart from the. So the p-value that you found here is 0.442, and the alpha or significant level is given us by 0.10, which is this one. This is your alpha. So what do you think? Is this p-value is less than or greater than which one? The alpha.
Greater than.
So this is greater than, so we still have, so if it's greater than you will fail to reject. It's 0. So this is your conclusion. This is your decision. So your answer is going to be fail to reject.
How did you get 200 for the successes?
200. I
Oh,
didn't use 200. I used 244. Do I use?
So like, so what was
Oh,
that?
how do I get 200? It's 82% of 244.
Oh, okay.
So
So do I
this is your calculator.
multiply that or something?
Yeah. 82%, 0.82 times 244.
Oh, okay, thank you.
That's how I get my 200 from. So this case, we will fail to reject your null hypothesis. So it's either A and C here. So again, I want to point out to you guys, this table, the best way to do this is, if you have a fail to reject, you always have the word not and the word rejection. So for this case, so we fail to reject the null hypothesis. So the word not is here. So your answer will be the fourth. This one is very tricky because of the word that you don't have the word equal. Yeah, this is the right
That
one.
would be A.
A, yeah, that will be not sufficient evidence to reject the claim. Yeah, because it will be, usually there is an equal sign in here. So I don't know why they don't put an equal sign in here, which is really, really troubling. So they should put an equal sign in that case. So which will be having an equality, which you reject the null hypothesis, you fail to reject the null hypothesis. So you should have the word not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection. So the word not and the word reject should be there. So that's why for this question, it will be A, the word not and the word reject should be there. So this is I don't know why they should put the word equal in there. So they're not missing that word, which is really, really bothering me, actually. In the test, I won't give you, I will use the word equal to 80%. So it's more clear to you guys. I think that's why some of you asked me this question. It's because maybe they don't put that down. Questions? So as usual, so this is the proportion one that we talk about. So for today's class, we will talk about the mean. So so the mean, we will be using T distribution. So as I mentioned early on, so mean is for quantitative variable. So make sure you know that we're talking about like test score, height, weight, temperature. Those are the ones that we talk about in this 8.3 sections. So your N in this case will be your sample size. So we have, so you need to know your sample size here. So how big is the sample? X bar is your sample mean. That means that will ask, the mean comes from the sample. S is the sample standard deviation. Alpha is the level of significance, which is usually given in the test or in the question. This mu0 or mu x bar is called the testing value, or sometimes we call it as the claim value. So this testing value or a claim value came from your claim statement. Remember when you guys did the homework, the claim is 80%. This is what we call as your testing value or claim value, which you will use it over here. So this is the, again, in this case, you will get your testing value or claim value in this case, but it won't be percent like 80% that you guys do. It's gonna be like 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So it does comes with a unit, because when you talk about mean, which is a quantitative, it has a unit measurements. So usually it does come with the unit. There's no units in the 8.2. The only unit you might think of is percent. Okay. The requirements is cut down really, really short, because these two only have two requirements. The first requirement is simple random sample. And the second requirement is the population is normally distributed, or your sample size is more than 30, or both. This requirement is robust or loose. So that means that you still can have small sample. Then make sure there's no outliers. So you can still able to use sample size that is less than 30, like 20 or 15. Then make sure that the sample size make sure that when you figure it out, there's no outliers in this case. If you do have outliers for a small sample, you might not able to use this t-distribution here. Okay. For StatCrunch, we will be using this t-stats, one sample with data or with summary. Depends on your questions. If your questions have home data files, or it has homework that you import the data files with a lot of numbers, then you use the first choice. Second choice you use for summary, means they provide you the summary statistics, means they give you the mean, the standard deviation, the sample size. So you just type it in like what we just did on the previous section. It's going to be the same 7 steps of procedure over again. Check the requirements, write down the 2 statements, the H0 and H1. Again, your null hypothesis is always equal to. It's a repeat. Null alternative is either greater than, or less than, or not equal to. So it depends on your claim statement. Since this is mean, so our sampling distribution is T, is no longer Z. Then the p-value and the test statistic, these two will come in StatCrunch. Again, it is going to be the last 2 numbers. Remember the last 2 numbers that we report just now. So you'll be again the last 2 numbers in the box, and the same decision and the same conclusion that you guys do. So it's actually is the same as the previous section. And as I told you, this 7-step procedure will be used again in chapter 9. So do not just ignore this whole thing. And if you're taking a statistic class in the future, if they say, oh, we are doing hypothesis testing, and guess what? It's going to be the same 7 steps. It cannot be changed. So I didn't change this. I just copy and paste from the box here. So it's going to be exactly the same box as we just did just now. So I didn't change this fellow. Okay. I'm going to go through.
I have a question.
Yep. Cecilia.
So if you look at the title, it says testing a claim about a mean when
sigma is not
standard
known.
deviation. Oh,
it's not known.
What's sigma is standard deviation, right?
Yep. This sigma is called the population standard deviation.
Okay.
And S is a sample.
Population.
So that means your population standard deviation is not given to us, or it's not known in this case.
So I'm just curious, why would we not know a standard deviation of
we do not know our
measuring
population.
data?
Yeah, we do not know the population.
population.
Yeah, because it's a whole group, big group, the whole everyone.
Okay.
So we do not know that.
Okay.
If you read this textbook, is split into 2 parts. One part is where sigma is not known, and one part is sigma is known. We don't cover that part, the sigma is known part.
Okay.
So we just only cover for this part, and this is usually we will concentrate more on actually.
Okay.
Yep. So do not worry about when population sanitation sigma is known. So that one we won't cover that one.
Okay.
So it's the same test procedure. So again, class, the reason I'm bringing this out is because this is what your test will look like actually, where you have to do the same 7 steps, but you have to actually type it out. So you can tell that by the online homework. It's very easy. Just click and do all this work. So I want to point out to you that in your test, this is what it looks like. And usually in your online homework, you didn't check for requirements. So so you just go straight to the identifying the noun and then do the rest of it. So I'm going to teach you how you check for your requirements. So that is the first so that is your first thing to do, is to check requirements. The first thing is that for this requirement check is simple random sample, and you have second requirement is your population is normally distributed or sample size is more than 30. So how do you check for simple random sample? Is the questions has to be written down random. The word random has to be random selection will be that, or random sample. So read this question number 1 that you have here, and there is some important stuff that you will find. So so go ahead and read it and then point out what is the important things that you found. I heard a tornado siren, so that's why I'm looking outside to see if there's a tornado.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want us to answer? Sorry.
40.
Oh, just read the first question
Okay.
and find out some important information. So grab some important numbers or informations that you get.
So
Simply
40
random
is
sample.
N.
Okay, random sample is one of them.
40 recorded speeds.
Very good. So 40 is one of those.
Mean of 68.4.
This is one of those. This is what you guys do in my tests.
The claim that the mean speed of all cars is greater than the posted speed limit of 65.
Okay, good. So that is the claim statement, and I usually underline it. So I really suggest for this coming finals, make sure you print out your test so you can do all these, things on it.
What about the 5 point?
Yeah,
standard
5.7.
deviation.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the significance level of 0.05.
Mm-hmm. One more. It is right in here, which is the 65 miles per hour, which is the what we call this, the 65 miles per hour, your mu0, your testing value or your claim value. So this is the one that you will be using to put in your
testing value or claim value. Okay.
Yep.
The claim that the mean speed of course.
Yep, which is the claim statement.
Testing value or claim value.
Okay. So so when you do the requirement check, the first thing we need to figure out is this a simple random sample? So you have the word random sample here, so that means this is checked. This is the first, and you have 2 requirements. The second requirement is to check if you have your population is normal distributed or your sample size is more than 30. So do we have that check?
Yeah, because it's 40.
So since this is your sample size actually is 40, so it's more than 30. So yes, we check that one too. So that means that we fulfill the requirement here. So this is how you do for the first first thing you do in my test is to do this requirement check here. This worth 2 points in your test. So which is the first thing, 2 points. Okay. Next, second thing is you have to write me the hypothesis statement. So this hypothesis statement is the one that you guys did in the in your homework, where you have the H0 and the H1 here. Now, last time, if you remember in your here in 8.2, we use P. That is for proportion. We don't use P anymore. So we will be using mu here. You guys know the mu, that this symbol, this one. This is a symbol. It's like a cursive U.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the mu symbol that we use. And for H0 is always greater. Your null hypothesis is always not greater. It's always equal to, sorry. So where we put the number for him is based on the claim value. So what's the claim value we have here?
65.
So 65, and it does have a unit, 65 miles per hour.
MPH.
And your H1, your alternative, is based on the claim. So it's either less than, greater than, or not equal to. So which one do we pick here?
Greater than.
Claim statement.
Greater than.
Greater than, because it is right over here. It is greater than. Okay, so make sure you a lot of reading in this case. So make sure when you read, underline and all those words that we do. So this worth 2 points in your test, writing the hypothesis statement. Okay. Next is the identifying the sampling distribution. So which is this fellow. So since this is talking about mean, so you can tell there are a lot of mean here. So a lot of mean. So your sampling distribution in this case will be T distribution. So that is a so last time is Z. This one is T because of the mean. So this worth 1 point in your test. Okay.
So would you use a different calculator then? Or
I'm
no?
sorry. Yeah, you will use yeah, your StatCrunch will do T for you.
So you would use the same calculator
Same
as
no, it's different.
8.2.
Nope, it's different.
Okay.
So we're not gonna use this because this is P. So last time we go is stats. We go to proportion stats, right? This time you go to T stats.
Okay.
One sample with summary, because this one's full with summary statistics, the mean. I give you the mean, the median, the mean, the standard deviation, and so on. So this is where you go to T stats, one sample with summary, and then you have to enter some numbers in here now. And these numbers are from your, from your here. So first number we enter here is your mean. And what is your mean in this case? Sample mean.
68.4.
68.4. And do not round this number. If this number is full decimals, do not round it. Standard
5.7.
Sample standard deviation is 5.7. And how big is the sample size?
40.
40. And then this is your claim value or testing value, which is 65 miles per hour. And this, you have a choice to pick less than, greater than, or not equals to. Since this question is asking for greater, so we'll be using greater. Okay. And you hit compute. So the next step, which is step 4, is asking you for test statistic and p-value, and it's going to be the same two last number on the box in the box there. So the test statistic in this case is this. That's why the T. If you remember last time, it's a Z stat. The Z already tell you is Z distribution. This time it's a T, so it's a T distribution. Before you look at these numbers, just double check this too, it should match with your hypothesis statements. So if this doesn't match with your hypothesis statement, the results is wrong. Don't look at it. Okay, so make sure. So when you guys do my midterm, my finals here, just spend 10 seconds to compare this with your hypothesis statements. If your hypothesis doesn't match with him, it's wrong. Something is wrong. I can tell you that. So the test statistic in this case is given as where was that? 3.77. Again, 2-3 decimal place. I'm not worried. And then 3.77, and the p-value in this case is given us by 0 point something. Where was he? 0.0030.
0.0003.
1, 2, 3, 3. Okay, something like. So just copy. This is the p-value. So these are the two important stuff that you'll be using here. So
Do you want us to round that to a certain number then? Like, I mean, like,
I usually, if you got so many zeros, I would not call you to round it up. So just give me all of them. Or sometimes you can give it to me as a 0 plus,
okay.
which means it's close to 0. It's a very small number. So this will give you 2 points in your test. So this is already 7 points already. Again, what you're doing here is step number 4, which is the p-value and the test statistic. Okay.
I am confused about that part. I think it says step 3.
This is step 3, which is doing the sampling distribution, which is this one. And then step 4 is this fellow.
What is the /0?
So for step.
Okay, wait for a minute. The two people. Cecilia, can you finish yours first before?
So if I'm labeling on the exam, if I'm labeling the steps for step 3, you just want me to put like t distribution.
That's step 3.
Or
yeah, this is
or
step 4.
s.
This is step 3.
Okay.
This is step 4.
Okay.
Okay, someone say something. I think it's a Chris. Someone
Asking what's the /0 plus for?
0 plus is the same thing as 0.0003. Means it's a very small number that is very close to 0.
Do we have to add that on the test?
No. So if your number is very, very small, just put either you give me 0.003 or 0 plus. They are the two same thing. So they are the two same. Next thing you have to figure out here is to figure out your decision. So step 5 is talking about decision. So decision is based on p-value and alpha. So this p-value is 0.0003. What is your alpha in this case? Which is significant level. It's 0.05. So is this 0.003 is less than or greater than 0.005? Is less than. So so since your p-value is less than alpha, so your p-value is less than or equal to alpha, you will have to reject your null hypothesis. So you will reject H0. So this is your decision. This decision will cost you 1 point. This is step 1. This is step 2. This is step 3. This is step 4. And then step 6 is the conclusion. The conclusion is the one that you have to compare the table, look at the table, the one that we have on here. This is the table. This is the conclusion. This is step 6 here. So first thing first, does your claim statement has equal sign or no equal sign?
Yes.
So this is for greater, right?
So no
So
equal
does that
sign.
so this is not include equal sign. So that means
Oh, yes.
so your claim statement does not include equal sign. So it's either number 1 or number 2.
It's number 1 because we rejected.
Yep. And then since this we reject from step number 5, your decision. So we will do the first statement. There is sufficient evidence to support the claim that, so that is your answer here. There is sufficient. I'm not very worried about your spelling. So the evidence to support the claim. So this is actually the first one. There is sufficient evidence to support the claim that where's my, this is where, yep. Now we need to put in the claim statement. So the claim statement is the one that you underlined early on the question. So you actually literally has to write this whole claim statement down. So you cannot just shortcut it, or you cannot just be lazy. It's right here. So draw me an arrow in my test. You won't get full points, I can tell you that. So you actually have to type, write it out. In my case, type it out. Mean speed of all cars is greater, greater than 65 miles per hour. So that is what your conclusion is. This worth 2 points in your test. So make sure you guys pick the correct conclusion and also write down the claim statement. Don't be lazy. So this is your, and since this question did not ask us a question, so this is it. Sometimes they ask a special question, asking, something else, then you will have step 7 since, so this step 7 actually can be skipped. You do not need to worry about it because this question doesn't ask for it. So if I ask in the test, usually this will worth 1 point. If I ask, since this
So
question,
12 points.
so you'll be 12. 2, 4, 6, 8.
No.
2, 4, 6, 8, 11. This will be the 11th.
11.
Yep.
Okay.
So this will be the 11 points. So if I didn't ask this, usually then it's only, so this will be only worth 10 points. This is a 10-point question.
Oh.
Total. So then this is what you have to do. Questions? And this is also the same thing in 8.2 and chapter 9. We're gonna do.
What does the DME stand for again?
Does not exist. That means we just don't worry about
does
it.
not exist.
Yeah. So don't just X it up. Don't worry about that. So we don't ask that question. So this is how you do I'm teaching you guys how to do the 7 steps procedure here in your test. And this worth 10 to 11, 12 points, depends on, how many things. I think 10 to 11 points. So there are 7 steps here. So make sure you guys know how to do these 7 steps. It's very important. And it's very different from your online homework. So because you do have to you have to write a lot of things out here. So make sure you guys know how to do this. Then we can look at your homework. Questions, anyone? All right, can you guys do attendance, please? Yep, attendance. So let's look at your homework questions here. Let's start with 8.3. Now, one part, I will teach you guys how to do this in your homework question, which I won't ask in your test. Okay, 12 12 different video game shows violence were observed. So these are the 12 video games here. The duration of times of violence were recorded with times here in seconds. What requirements must be satisfied so that to test this claim where the population mean is greater than 75 seconds? So are they fulfilling the requirements? So for this case, we are doing mean. How many requirements do we need?
Two.
2 requirements. One requirement is, the first one is what?
Simple random sample.
Simple random sample, which is this fellow. And what is the second requirement?
N is greater than 30.
So which is the first?
Or it's normally
Population.
distributed.
Yep, population is normally distributed. So this is 2 requirements. But these are the right 2 requirements, but do they satisfying the requirements here? These are the 2 requirements that we have.
It doesn't say the number. Oh, 12 different video games. So no for 30.
So not for this one,
And
because it's only
it
12.
looks like, I can't tell if it's normally distributed or not.
So usually you have the word random selected. I don't think so. This one has the word randomly selection. So actually that none of these requirements are selected. I think I'm going to just click simple random sample because usually it does have the word random sample involved. You know what? This is just a requirement. These are the 2 requirements has to be satisfied. And now they will ask you, yep. So these are the 2 requirements that you need to satisfy. Now they'll ask you that which requirements. So no, we don't use binomial. We don't use binomial. The sample size is not greater than 30, right? As Cecilia mentioned, only 12. You can count, there are only 12 numbers here if you want to.
I think it's F.
So not greater than 30, so it's either E or F. And that's not set information to determine whether simple. Yep, so it's F in this case. Yeah, because it's not even random sample. So yep. So it's kind of the first question is asking for requirement check. So this is just telling you what the requirement check is. 18 different video games show drug use when observed in seconds. When using the sample for t-test means the mean. What does DF, what DF stands for?
Degree of freedom.
The number of degree of freedom, so it's B in this case. What is the value of DF? What's the formula? Remember what's the formula for DF? How to find degree of freedom? N minus 1. Or how many video games do we observe in this case?
18.
18. So 18 take away 1. 17.
17.
You guys all right? Now this is the one that this is something that you guys need to, a lot of students are asking me this question, so please pay attention. It's not going to be in your test, it's going to be just in your homework. So in order for you to find the p-value, so I'm going to pull out my friend here. So this is actually the p-value that is in chapter 8.1 here, the box here. Where's my box? That's the box. So this is how you find your p-value in this case. So if a question in chapter 8.3 asking you for p-value, this is how you find it. Okay. So let's take a look at your question here. So this question is given us a claim statement for 12 a.m. body temperature. Can someone point out to me, is this a two-tailed test, a left-tailed test, or a right-tailed test? And where which specifically telling us, oh, this is actually is left. Oh, right, or two-tail, which one?
Is it
Is the greater
right?
than.
Yep, so it's right over here. And it is a right tail, you're correct. So so make sure you watch this greater than symbol here. And that is the one that is telling us if it's an equal, it's a two-tail. So what you need to do here is the last one. So you have to go to your T calculators. So you go to StatCrunch. You go to Stats, Calculators, T. Okay, you go to T calculators. First thing you need to know is the degree of freedom. So how many what is the sample size in this case? We got 7. So yep, so 6 is the correct one. And then that's the degree of freedom. And then you pick X is greater than or equals to. So you put greater than or equals to the t-score. Now, what is the t-score? The t-score is given in the question, which is your test statistic t. So your number here is 1.088. So you just put 1.088. Okay. So again, you go to the calculators, go T, and then it's greater than. So we use the third one, which is this is the one that is for right tail test. Change it to greater than or equal to. The t-score is the test statistic t, which is 1.088 here. And you just hit compute. And your answer is 0.159. Questions? If you have a two-tailed test, then you just need to double this answer because you will have both sided. So you just take this 0.159 and times 2, and that will be your answer if it's a two-tailed test. I think the next question is asking that. Anyone have any questions for me with this one? I'll show it to you.
So if it's a two-tailed test, wouldn't you have to put less than?
It's still used
No.
greater than.
What am I?
And then you
thinking
just
of?
double it. I'll show it to you. So so this is the one. Oh, this one has to use less than. I'm so sorry. I'll show it to you. Yeah. So this is a claim smartphone carriers for airport with the mean is equal to 11 megabytes per second. So since this is equal to, so are we using a left tail test, or right tail test, or a two-tail test?
Two-tail.
A two-tail. So this will tell us we're using two-tail. So again, we're using here. So sample size is 13. So the degree of freedom should be 12. Now, because your test value here is negative, so you have to use a less than. Okay, let me repeat. What determines less than, greater than? Usually you look at your test statistic. If you have a negative, we use less than because it's on the left side. If it's a greater than, if it's positive. So you have to type in negative 1.333 here. This is not your answer. So what you need to do is take out your calculator and take this number and double it. So 0.1036435 times 2. So your answer in 3 decimal place is 0.207. So this is the difference between a one-tail test and a two-tail test. So make sure you do the following, and this negative, the reason why we use less than here is because our test statistic here is negative. Otherwise, if it's a positive, we use greater than. And then make sure you double your answer for two-tail tests. Questions? This one is back to the whole hypothesis testing. The good news is if you click on here, they give you this display. So you do not need to do your StatCrunch. You just need to refer to your display here. So the claim says that, where's my claim? That's my claim here, that population has mean less than 40 miles per hour. So that's my
That
claim.
would be A.
So not
B.
A,
B.
we are very tricky. B will be the right one. So this is the type of questions you will get for me in the multiple choice. I will give you this, and then you have to pick up your hypothesis testing. 1 point. All right. Test statistic. Now you do not need to use your StatCrunch. It's given here. So which one of these show us your test statistic?
T.
Yep, T. So your answer in this case will be negative 0.19. And p-value is right underneath it. So it's very, I mean, so if they give you the technology display, you just use it to answer the question. And now here is what you need to tell me here is, so now I can shut this off because it's no longer needed. So can someone tell me what you do with what the p-value is? What?
0.425.
0.425. I'm so sorry. So p-value is 0.425. Alpha is
0.05.
0.05.
0.05. Yes. I
So
have to give you alpha.
So it's greater.
Greater. So what we do?
Fail to reject.
Fail to reject H0. Okay, so we will fail to reject H0. Now we're gonna use our table.
There is not sufficient evidence to support.
So do we have equality or no equality? That is not sufficient. Very good. So every time when you fail to reject, the word not here. Yep. So there is not sufficient evidence to reject or support the claim.
Support.
Support the claim because there is no equal sign. We are using the claim says there are less. So there is not sufficient evidence. Yep. This is even, so that's the reason why your homework is easy because you don't write it out. So make sure you, it's very, very different from the test. I can tell you that. That's the reason why that I really want you to try to do a few questions like this one over here, where you actually have to type, write out your,
Answers.
the answers out like this. I would recommend you to do 2 and 3 on your own if you can. But because that will be something really, really good. Now so far everything here, again, this is the same question. It has an icon here. So again, the p-value is a p-value. The t is your test statistic in this case. Okay. Don't look at the critical. No, don't look at the critical observed value. This is the negative 7.74 is your test statistic in this case. Well, let's look at a few more because this is mostly I want to look at the one that has this all have technology come out. So you just need to read.
Are we going to cover 9.1 today?
No,
or
no, we only do 8.3. So 9.1.
Oh, okay, okay.
We only covered this one because you need time. You need time to absorb this. Because if you cannot do this, say goodbye to chapter 9. Your homework for this week is only 8.3. So make sure you spend a little bit more time doing this and also try to do this on your own. If you can, because it will really, really help you. So mostly they are the same as the previous one, but only thing I'm going to point out to you is so this is all they give you the statistic. They give you the mean, the median, standard deviation, and all those things. I want to give you something that is not they give you a bunch of there you go. So they got all this now, this is data.
Data.
Yep. So this is the data piece. So it's a little bit different from the previous example. It's because they all give you the mean, standard deviation, so on. So these are talking about a group of students referring to a watch of clock and listed, what's the claim says? Yep. Yep, 1 minute to 60 seconds. So what will be your hypothesis statement here? A, B, C, or D?
C.
As boy? No. Again, every time when you guys test for equal, what you test against with? If you
Not
have,
equal, so that
not
would be C.
so your answer should be C in this case. Now they ask you for the test statistics. So you do need to import all this data into your StatCrunch. So click on this little folder, open in StatCrunch. And last time we go to stats, one sample with data, with summary. This time you go with data. Okay, so now you have to go to with data. Make sure you highlight the var one, which is all these numbers you have. And make sure you put in these numbers. So I think 60 seconds is the one that we are testing for.
Yeah.
And you're testing for not equals to 60 seconds. So these are the ones that you have changed, and make sure you select one and hit compute. And again, the last two numbers are the one that you're looking for. So the test statistic in this case is 2.38 in 2 decimal place. And your p-value in this case is the last number, 0.032. And now you're looking for your friend. So a p-value is 0.032. And my alpha significant level is 0.01. This is the 0. So can someone tell me, is this number is less than or greater than?
Greater than.
Greater than. So fail to reject or reject H0 if you have that.
Fail.
Fail.
You will fail to reject H0. And usually when you have to fail, there is not sufficient evidence
To warrant rejection.
to warrant rejection. Yeah, original claim that, see now this one is tricky. I don't see the word, this is tricky. Again, that's the reason why I do not like to do your online homework, because when you do your written homework, your test, you just say as what Teresa or there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. No. This one, I don't know why they don't have the word warrant rejection here. So you have to twist it a little bit. So when you say this, you say that the correct way, this is what there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. And what is the claim says? That bucket. The mean is equal to 60, right?
Yeah.
Mean is equals, I just shortcut everything. I don't have time to write this down. Let me show you. So this is what you read down, right? You should know not sufficient evidence. I have no time, sorry, to warrant rejection of the claim that the mean is equal to 60 seconds. So because of this question in your online homework, he strike this fellow out. So if you strike this fellow out, then this should be not equals to 60 seconds. Is not correct. So again, you have to have two negation word here. So make sure you have the word not, the word reject, or the word not and the word not. Okay, so that's why I don't like, sometimes when I do your homework, I say I don't like it because it is. So is this appears to be, when you do this not and the word rejection, do you support the claim or do you not support the claim?
Yes.
Yes, we are supporting the claim in this case. Because of the two negative words, we are supporting your claim in this case. That means it's 16 seconds. So it appears that as a group, the students are really good with essay 1 minute. So in this case, they are supporting your claim in this case. So again, I'm really not a big fan of your online homework, because in the test, this is what your conclusion should be, right? This is the questions you be answering. You say, yes, we are supporting the claim, or sometimes we say the claim is valid. And if it's no, it's invalid. Okay. So so those are the things that I really not big fan of your online homework. So try to write a statement that is using the word not and the word rejection. Questions that you guys have? Same thing with this question. Next question, it has a lot of data here, lots of data. So again, import it into StatCrunch and then do your work here. The claim is saying that it is less than 76 bits per minute, which I think your answer will be A, B, C, or D.
D.
D. Okay. Now, as you guys know that in your test, you don't have the privilege of clicking a box and import everything into StatCrunch, right? So you don't have this privilege of doing it. Okay. So in your test, if I give you a question, it will look something like this. So what you do in the StatCrunch?
Enter it in manually.
Yes, you have no other choice. If this is a question come out in your test, no box here to import to your StatCrunch, so you have to manually enter it into your list here. I'm gonna use bar 3. And what happens if you enter one number wrong?
Everything is wrong.
Yep, mostly all your results will be wrong. So this is something I want to point out to you guys. Just be careful with this. Just double check, especially in the test, just double check what you enter is correct. And then before you start working on it. Okay, so there's no copy and paste like what you guys did over here. And I won't give you a lot of data to enter. I probably will give you around like 15 numbers like that to enter. Okay, so I won't give you like 300 or 30 or probably small number like 15, 18 numbers to put in there. Questions? Or I can call you to just go to your the data files. Just import it from the data file. So then if I want a lot of numbers, say, oh, I want you to go to birth, and I want to concentrate on birth weight, let's say. So what you do here is I want you to find, so what you do here is you go here, click on the birth weight, get imported over here, and then you go to stat, go to tstat, one sample with data, and we are doing birth weights. Okay, and then you type, I will give you the statement. The claim statement says that baby born around 4,000, more than 4,000 or something else like that, you know. So you just need to do like this, and then you hit compute, and this is your answer again for this case. This is just an example I'm using, okay?
That's a hefty baby.
Yeah. This is all in grams though. This is all in grams. So 4,000 grams is 4 kilos, which is around less than 2 pounds. So what I want to point out to you is that if I have a lot of numbers, then I will call you to just get it from your data files. Otherwise, if you have a small number like this, then you have to literally enter it manually to your StatCrunch. Anyone okay here? Questions you have before we end today's Zoom meeting? So yes, you only have one homework due this coming week. Wednesday is 8.3, and then we slowly will go on to 9. 9 is a little bit tough, but you need to know how to do chapter 8 first, before you move on to 9. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you after the class.
I'm sorry?
I would like to have a word with you after the class.
Okay, yes, please. Yeah, we'll talk after class. That's it for today's class. So your homework for today is 8.2 tonight. 8.2 is due tonight, and then 8.3 is due on next Wednesday. Chapter 9, we will start working on it next week. Okay, so I'm going to change your homework here before you guys go. Anyone have any questions? I'll change it. I'll change it for you guys. All right, if you have no questions, you may go. If you do have questions, you may leave. You may stay. You have questions, stay. You have no questions, you may go. I took the medicine. The medicines really make me sometimes not think straight. So.
Well,
Okay.
we do have a question.
Mhm.
Teresa and I have a question for you.
Yes.
Yes, we do.